We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We are deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. You're back on the air with the restaurant brokers, Eric and Robin Gagnon, and We Sell Restaurants. We are the industry leader in restaurants for sale, franchise restaurant resales, and site location for the food service industry. You can learn more about joining our brand as either an agent or a franchisee by visiting our website, WeSellRestaurants.com. Now we're going to talk about one of our very favorite types of cuisine. Eric, we've got some great guests who are talking about Southern cuisine today.
We sure do. And I'll tell you what, Robin, you're in company of great Southern people. Time flies. And I mean, we went through that first segment. If you missed it, it was a great segment. But let's tee it off here with Felicia, Steve, and Jeff here in the second segment. And let's talk about, we talked a bit about fried food and everything. And let's talk about, the secret recipes about frying some chicken here. And then I know this is very secret, probably transpired to you from descendants of your families and everything, but share a little bit about the difference. Like I think, Felicia, you talked about that a little bit before the break about how different is the batter and everything. I want each one of you to kind of share a little bit about the differences in your batters and when you fry something.
Well, actually, there's not a secret. I started fried chicken with my grandmother, loves at 7. It was one of the first things that I as childhood, memories of cooking with her and in her kitchen. And, she lived in small town Arkansas, and those were not the days of the big grocery stores. She knew the little market who sourced the chickens, and so she just started with a good chicken. And she always broke down whole chickens. She never used pieces. To this day, I still break down whole chicken. So I think that's one is a great chicken. I think breaking it down yourself is important. She would season it with a little salt and pepper. And then she worked also. She had a flower shop, and she would cook every Sunday for the family after church. And she wasn't sure if there was going to be 6 people, 12 people, or 20 people at her dining table. And so she would plan her weekend of cooking accordingly. So sometimes her chicken would go in the buttermilk on Friday. She had a big wedding or funeral weekend, or it would go in Saturday. And she would marinate the chicken in buttermilk overnight. And then on Friday, she just had flour, seasoned with a little salt and pepper. And she showed me she would double dip it, so it would go from the egg into the flour, back into the egg, back into the flour, and it would form this crust. And she always fried in cast iron, slow, usually took 22 to 24 minutes. She never finished it in the oven, and the double batter helped it sit on pans while she was frying the rest of it. And I still fry my chicken like that today.
Oh, I am starving just hearing that story. But Jeff, I have to ask you, there are folks who, it's scandalous to me, but they don't use buttermilk. Is buttermilk part of your recipe as well?
Which recipe?
for fried chicken.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of different ways to do fried chicken. I think that you have to adapt. I got to be honest with you. When you're in a restaurant and you're doing, we'll serve, we're going through, I think about 400 orders. On the weekends, we'll go through 300-plus orders of fried chicken.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Cast iron skillet's not going to get it, is it?
No, we have, exactly. So, yeah, when you're asking about my favorite recipe and do I do it in the restaurant, I do it as close as I can. But in reality, you're not going to be able to get very far with volume if you don't make some adaptations. So we bought a really nice pressure fryer. It's called a Winston pressure fryer. And it handles the load really quickly, and it recovers fast, and it keeps your oil from burning, and it's important. As far as the buttermilk goes, one of my restaurants a while back, we did start with a buttermilk, and the issue that we were having was if you didn't sell all the chicken in the timely manner that you wanted to, buttermilk has an alkaline to it, and that's what the whole point of it is it softens the chicken and it does its own little brining technique to it. But if you don't use it fast enough, it'll break it down, and you'll lose some chicken. It'll go bad faster, actually. So
wow.
Yeah, but I mean, I love buttermilk if you do it right. Like Felicia was just saying, Grandma set the time, and she knew she was going to serve it all this day. That's great. But we were running into problems where if we didn't sell it all that day, then we were wasting product, and nobody likes to waste good chicken. So
we never had any chicken left around.
Exactly.
It was always gone.
Well, especially Steve. Steve, talks about making money and profitable. Steve, tell us about your fried chicken a little bit.
Well, we do marinade in buttermilk. The recipe's so secret, my chef won't even tell me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, actually. But for us, I think it's about the flexibility of what you can do with fried chicken. I mean, we do a really neat nutty fried chicken, which is a nut encrusted fried chicken. We do a fried chicken saltimbocca with a different type of spice profile with mushroom marsala and country ham. So we have a lot of chicken on our menu, including a fried chicken BLT that we do that was featured in Garden and Gun, I think last year. So just the flexibility of the food and its general acceptance and the creativity that you can put onto it, to me, is what makes chicken kind of a foundation. It certainly plays a big role in our restaurant.
Great. So, Jeff, let me ask you a quick question, because you're in New York now. How do you take that idea of Southern food and then reinvent it around a newer, fresher cuisine? Any suggestions for chefs listening out there?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I guess I'm getting old now, and I'm blessed to have a lot of good help with me, so I think we'll take a classical recipe and we will cook it. And, I'm not the kind of chef that kind of comes in and writes the menu and says, this is it, this is the menu, this is how we're running it. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, we're very open forum. We talk about it. We eat together as a workforce. We eat together and we talk and we say, how can we make this dish better? Does it have enough acid? Is it too sweet? Is it too salty? Does it have enough flavor? Does it have enough visual? Is it beautiful? And we all wind up putting in our 2 cents and getting it to something that we're all happy with. And sometimes that does change the classical dish a little bit. But we, again, as I spoke earlier, I think it's always important that you keep the integrity of the classic. Fried chicken, you don't want to take it too far out of the elements where it's not fried chicken anymore.
That is a great answer, and we're going to have to wrap it up there with our Southern specialist joining us today on We Sell Restaurants. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon. We're the restaurant brokers. We are satisfying your appetite for acquisition, creating quite an appetite today for Southern food, feeding the need for restaurant reality, and serving up a recipe for business success. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after the break with Restaurant Reality.